Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Connor, and you're listening to Film Talks Battle Volume 1. This week, we got something very special. We have our first ever Film Talks Battle, where two contestants will go head to head over film topics, and I will determine the winner, because I am in charge. But before we get into the nitty gritty, allow me to introduce our debaters. We got Will Cruz. He's waving. Boom. Will, do you have anything to say?
Oh, I just want to say this a lot of research and last minute planning went into this, and I hope everybody enjoys what we got to say. So we can say some good stuff.
Oh, I bet. And his opponent, Jonathan Mitchell. You have anything to say?
Yeah, it's a great honor to be here today to debate on the first film talks ever. I feel like we're starting history right now.
Dang right.
Same as Will, a lot of last minute cramming. I felt like I was back in college again.
To be fair for our listeners, these people did have over a week to prepare.
There's
Anyways,
a lot of movies to get through.
All right. First up, we have a situational conflict. Who would win in a fight? Denzel Washington's Equalizer, armed with anything he can find in a Home Depot, or Matt Damon's Jason Bourne, armed with a magazine and a pen? Will, you start.
All right, I'm just gonna tell you this right off the bat. Jason Bourne, he's an assassin, man. He's so good he didn't even know what his job was. He didn't even know what he was meant to do, and he was still killing people and fighting people. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. It's just insane what he can do. And second of all, I just want to say he made a guy kill himself. That's how crazy it was. He didn't even have to finish him off. The dude jumped out the window and did it for him. I definitely, clearly, you can see I'm going with Jason Bourne here. He's got to be the winner of the two, and I say that because he's able to just take what people give him and fight against them. He's never really had to use his own kind of weapons or anything like that. Somebody's got a gun, boom, he disarms the gun, takes it from him, uses it against them. Somebody's got a knife, oh, he stabs them. Big surprise there. And if he's got a pen, you better watch out because he's gonna stab you 4 times before you can even realize that you're hurt. And that's it. We know how it ends. You jump out the window, you kill yourself. That's it.
Jeez.
I went with Denzel and Home Depot. One of the interesting things that I noticed about Denzel was he has a high awareness of his environment and setting and situation, and he pretty much has his plan of attack before the first word is even discussed with his adversaries. It's always funny because he goes in and he kind of like assesses the room. He's like 20 seconds or like 16 seconds, and he times himself.
16 seconds.
Everybody nowadays in a action movie is trained by the American government, the CIA, whatever. So that doesn't mean anything nowadays. But my dude, he is very, very keen on setting traps and almost as if he subconsciously walks his enemies or have them walk themselves into his traps that he sets up ahead of time as well and on the fly. Very big into psychological warfare as well as hand-to-hand combat as well as environmental usage all in the same time. I mean, Jason, cool at like smashing person's face in with whatever tool he can touch like a caveman, but not really there when it comes to the analytics and the planning and the on-the-fly adjustments to the setting itself.
Well, so I just want to say the crowd verdict was 50-50. So this one doesn't really have anyone really siding with another side, but I have to. So regardless of personal bias, I think I'm gonna have to go with Equalizer on this one. Here's my thing. Hear me out. So Jason Bourne, according to your two arguments, Jason Bourne is a survivor, and the Equalizer is more of an attacker. And in this situation, they're both attacking each other. I think that the offense of Denzel Washington outweighs the offense of Matt Damon. But now that might be. Who knows? Who knows? All right, so that goes to our second question. It actually doesn't lead to our second question, but we have a second question. A second question. We have the popular dilemma of Jacob or Edward from the Twilight Saga. Who is better for dear Bella Swan? Jonathan, you're up first.
I'm gonna go with Jacob. It was actually hard for me to pick either one of them. I like werewolves, and so that was like a lead bias into that. but as I began looking into it more, it actually became more difficult. But at the end, I still landed on Jacob, mostly because when I look at all the movies over again and everything that's going on, these are teenagers that are dealing with these massive life situations. I felt that there was more of a human element in Jacob when it came to his relationship with Belle. This kid was annoying because he was a kid. I think Jacob was just the full package when it comes to a teenager in love, and he's also a werewolf too, which is just an added bonus.
You know, it sounds like you're trying to pick him to date you, not Bella Swan at this point. I don't know.
And I know you feel something for me. I can sense how I make you feel.
I did a little research on this one, and I just wanted to see some different perspectives and see what was going on. And I was on debate.org and looking at some of the comments.
This
so,
sounds like you don't have an opinion. That's it.
I do. I'm going to get to mine, but you'll see when I read this why I had to explain this.
Okay.
Okay. Team Edward for Ebbs. Okay. Edward Cullen is the more attractive person, exemplified by his messy wave of blonde hair, his impeccable bone structure, and his piercing eyes, the color of topaz. He is slender and muscular, in Bella's own words, impossibly beautiful. Edward cares more deeply for Bella, as he's demonstrated time and again in his efforts to maintain distance from her, knowing that his presence puts Bella in danger. And I think what it comes down to is honestly like kill or be killed, okay? Edward had the choice too. He could have sat on the sidelines. He could have been like, man, I like this girl, but I don't know. There's some problems here. We shouldn't really be together. But we all know what happened. We all know what happened when that car almost hit Bella. What'd she say? I know what you are. Come on.
That was perfect.
I know what you are.
All right. So, crowd verdict. We actually did have a decent one here. We had a 40-60 slant in favor of Edward. But here's the thing. I might have to go with Jacob here. Because, Will, you missed a very crucial point. If you had mentioned that he was actually in love with their baby and not Bella, that would really hurt the point there.
That's true. I had a thing for a second. I was like, I know I'm missing something very, very key here.
I started off from the beginning too.
It's hard to relive my teenage years of 12 and 14 years old when all this love drama was going on.
Well, I think Jonathan might be the only one who hasn't blacked those movies out completely. So for this question, I think I'm gonna go with Jacob here. Jonathan, you got 2 points. Ahead 2. And just in time for the third question, which I think Will is probably gonna take. What is the best sports movie in your opinion?
Okay. All right, listen. I just want to say Denzel got it in the first round, and Denzel's going to get it in this round again, okay? I am talking about Remember the Titans. You got not only the sports aspect of it going on, but you have that like actual relationship aspect of it going on as well. And it's based on a true story. So I think that's what makes it even more impactful. It's just the fact that it's not only something that you're like, oh yeah, this is nice. It warms the heart, but it's like, it's based on a true story. So I think it was a great movie. I think it's definitely my favorite of all time. Just, I didn't grow up playing football or anything like that. Wasn't always a huge fan, but I mean, Remember the Titans definitely got me going.
Jonathan, you're up.
All right. Here's where I get slaughtered. Yeah, it's not. There's only 2 that are coming to me right now. Oh, the first one is Cars from Disney.
What?
It's about NASCAR, right?
NASCAR is a sport.
It's about NASCAR. And the only other one is Talladega Nights, and it's like I don't know what it is with NASCAR. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Cars. I'm gonna try to like take a huge shot in the dark here and try to say why that is the best sports movie. All right. First and foremost, Disney, wholesome, full package, right? Second of all, you got a car who is at the top of his game, right? You got a racer who's at the top of his game, gets thrown out in the backwoods of nowhere, and then has to try to understand and wrap his head around that life is way bigger than what he perceives it to be. And then learn how to actually get back to where he was from the ground up. The whole movie is just his comeback story. When he comes back strong.
What are you talking about? I don't know.
That's all I got so far for this.
That's all you need to say. I don't know. Do either of you have any rebuttals for these picks?
I just want to say, I mean, We needed what, like 5 or 6 Cars movies, and towards the end we just got tired of it. We're like, stop making these movies already, please.
What are you blind? Oh, come on, that was such a bad call.
But secondly, you only need the first Cars movie and the last one, the most recent one. Everything else just throw it. You got the dude, but yeah, to be honest, like like Talladega Nights, not Talladega Nights. Remember the Titans. Like,
Well, all right. So we now have 2 votes for Remember the Titans. Crowd verdict. So this one I have three people who threw in their vote. Donovan threw in Remember the Titans. Bill,
Titans, baby.
Bill, our friend from work, threw in Meet the Giants. I have no idea what this movie is. I think he made this movie up.
I was thinking Meet the Robinsons when you said it. I was like, wait a second.
He admits that he doesn't watch sports movies, but he tried. So, and then Josh Dyke threw in Rocky.
Oh, that's a good one. That would be a harder conversation. Remember the Titans versus Rocky. Now that's something to talk about.
As for my verdict, Jonathan, the journey for the Piston Cup is a truly inspiring story, but I will have to decide with Remember the Titans. So, Will, you get your first point. All right,
I'm back.
all right, so here we go. Question 4. This one we might have another problem with. Let's find out. Which Mission Impossible film is the best? You have
I came ready for that.
You have 6 to choose from, Jonathan, just so you at least know how many there are.
I got mine.
All right, Jonathan, go for it.
Second one.
Oh.
Yeah, second one. Second one's my favorite one so far. Mostly for nostalgic reasons. The bike scene. Just everything that he was doing with that motorcycle was amazing. Then the good old mask switcheroo when the ultimate villain thought that he got the hero, and then goes off and kills him, and then just reveals nope, it was one of his friends all along, and then he's like running down the hallway, just tears the mask off. I was just like, whoa, what is that? Like, play that, rewind that again. I missed something. And then and then the fight scene when I believe they were on a beach somewhere, and then them just going back and forth.
I don't remember where it was, but
a beach kind of cliffside kind of place. It was a while since I've seen it, but I remember just watching that and just loving how it was just like a back and forth kind of fight all the way through.
All right, Will, what you got?
All right, I gotta say, man, Fallout had me on the edge of my seat several times, and I wrote something down. I had to write something down for this one. So you got action, you got drama, you got suspense. That's all key things for a spy movie that we all need. We all want to see. Then you got things going on from the past, so you're still getting that like element of what was going on before. Like they bring up the exes, they got everybody in the same room. But I mean, I think it's great in the fact that you still have that, that story that they're following. You still got Tom Cruise dealing with all these people, fighting all these bad guys. He had that car scene in there where he's just drifting through the streets of Paris. I mean, he drives a truck into an alleyway, like all these crazy things that he's doing. And then we have all those times where we're like, how is he going to get out of this too? Like he's like done. And we can't figure out what's going to happen. And then boom, something else happens. He's able to get out of it. We got another situation on our hands, but then we don't know what's going on. So I just enjoy, the ride that they took me on. And I think it was a great film.
You said it all. Well, I think you...
What more is there to add? Do I have enough characters left in this text?
I told you I like this one.
Well, clearly. So for our crowd, we did have Donovan sided with Jonathan here. I don't know why. Maybe the nostalgia factor.
I bet that's it.
And then, I don't know what happened when you guys watched this movie. Did your mom give you cookies or something? And then you were like, this movie, whatever it comes on.
Every time they see that movie, they think of those cookies.
Well, so on top of Donovan, we also had Josh Dyke. He said 1, which neither of you said. I think 2 is a very dark horse pick, to be honest. I don't know a lot of people who like 2. So I'm gonna have to side with Will here. I think Will, you said a long thing, so I'll give you credit just for the length. How about that?
Well, I wanted to be judged by the content, but you
Well,
know.
the content was good too. The content was good. Our last question is, which Marvel hero had the better trilogy, Iron Man or Thor? Will, start us off.
All right, so I'm gonna have to go with Thor.
I am the god of thunder!
We see him get thrown out of Asgard. He's down on Earth. He's got to figure out what he's gonna do. He's got to figure out how he's gonna get back. He's got he's got to save people. He's got to do all these crazy things. He's got to get people to believe him, to help him out. He's got to deal with the fact that he can't always be high and mighty like he thinks he is. And he's got to humble himself and deal with people. Natalie Portman was in there helping him out, doing some stuff. I mean, he can't ask for more. But I think it really with all three movies, you actually start to feel for him because he comes in as this arrogant kind of bastard looking dude, and nobody really cares. He's got everything he wants. He's he's selfish. He's egotistical, whatever you want to throw in there. And then throughout the movies, we see he starts to actually have a personality. He's a dude. He's a decent guy. He does have a kind heart. He does want to help people. He does want to make his father proud. He does want to do the best. I mean, he's fighting Loki all the time, who's just trying to do all these crazy things, trying to take over the world 3 different times. He's got to fight him, and when he does beat him, he's still you're my brother. I love you.
God of thunder.
I've never met this man in my life.
He's my brother.
Adopted.
Well, outside of the whole mentioning of the family aspect of your argument, it sounded like you were just describing Iron Man the whole time. I have to go with Iron Man for my pick because you have mostly the story where the enemy is themselves. You have a guy Tony Stark, who goes from this brilliant millionaire to selling rockets to the wrong people, getting captured by them, getting damaged by the very thing that he sold to the very group that he sold it to, almost dies because of it. Has to use his genius and the help of another to survive, and it is wearing a constant reminder of that mistake on his chest. Once he gets back to living his life, it's an easily dismissible thing to him that all that had happened. And he goes back to his ego being the forefront of his life, his genius and his tech being the forefront of his life. But what you got going from the first movie to the third movie is this person who is trying to not just save the world, but also trying to deal with themselves and their struggles, and really trying to not be their own stumbling block.
And 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, hands down for me, the story, the struggle, the the character, the suits, the tech. It's my best. It's hands down. I'm always gonna go watching Iron Man over Thor.
Well, see, I didn't put Captain America for a reason because I feel like Captain America could probably take both of them. But
Captain America's got to win.
anything to say, either of you?
Yup. I got something for you.
All right. Okay.
Okay, you got Iron Man. Yeah, he's dealing with the identity crisis or whatever, midlife crisis, whatever you want to call it. He's going through his issues. But I'm saying, we see Iron Man at his best when he's in the Avengers movies with the rest of the crew. That's when I like Iron Man the best. But when he's on his movies on his own, he's not as good. I don't feel that connection to him. I don't feel as much substance in his character in the individual movies, which I got out of Thor. I mean, you gotta think about the fact Thor ended up being fat and drinking all this beer and stuff like that because he was depressed, dealing with his issues, and he comes back from that.
I'm not as strong as you.
No. You're stronger.
Yes, a lot of humanity does come out in Iron Man in the Avengers series as well. What started off at the beginning is still leaching out into there. A lot of those aspects did come out into his series itself, especially when it came to him trying to form relationships and bond with other people outside of themselves who are not smarter than him, those who he would deem dumber than him, but still him, growing close to and fond of and attached to. A freaking full on marriage came out of that. That whole trying to deal with person versus self play. He did lose it all. He lost it all in the first movie when he was kidnapped, and that whole beginning montage was him trying to survive and live and trying to understand. And he gave him a key to understanding that, hey, there's this other aspect of life that is still good, that it's still full. It's not what you're used to. It's not normal. It doesn't feed into your ego. In fact, you're going to be giving out more than you're going to be, praise you're going to be receiving. But it's still worthwhile if you choose to go down this path, and we can actually see that come out within the new Spider-Man movies that come out with him bonding with Peter Parker, his relationship with his wife, his kid that came out of that, even sacrificing himself in the Avengers at the end of everything.
And I am Iron Man.
That's all I gotta say about that.
All right, let's do this. So, I think actually you guys bring up some good points. I think Will, I like how you bring up that Thor's primary conflict, like, a lot of people knock Thor because his villains are kind of lame, but Thor's big conflict is with his family. You have that family conflict, whereas Iron Man, you got that self conflict. And I think what's compelling about both of them is that some might say it's lazy writing because it keeps happening over and over again, but it's real. Like, if you have a self conflict, even if you defeat it once, it's going to come back. Same with a brother. If you hate a brother the one day, you might like him the next day, and then the next day you're going to hate him again. So, not speaking out of personal experience, but who knows? I will say the crowd verdict was 75-25 in favor of Iron Man.
Hey.
Oh, gosh.
I think I'm going to have to side with Thor. Now, hear me out. I'm going to choose Thor because of the 3 movies, it seems to me, after Iron Man 1, they didn't really know what to do with Iron Man in 2 and 3 because the plots kind of go back and forth, but I think that they do Iron Man or Robert Downey Jr. a disservice because in his 3 movies, he creates this character arc, and then the Avengers kind of like, trash, and they just throw it out. Like the end of Iron Man 3, he's like, I'm done. And the next movie, he's not done. He's doing stuff again. The thing that happens with Thor, right, is I feel more dramatic weight with Thor, even though 2 and 1 are kind of trash movies. I think the dramatic points in all 3 of those movies are really compelling. In 1, he loses his powers. In 2, he loses his mom and kind of his brother, but not really. And then in 3, he loses everything, basically. And
an eye.
Well, he loses an eye, that important eye. I think the dramatic weight that Thor has in his 3 movies is probably a little better. Although Iron Man 1, I would probably put above all 6 of these movies. That's probably the best one. It's probably the best of all 6. I think I'm going to have to side with Thor, which gives Will the 3rd point. Will, you are the winner of our first Film Talks Battle Volume 1. What do you have to say, Will?
I gotta say, I enjoyed my time here. I think this was a great start to Film Talks Battles, and I am excited for what's gonna come next. I think it will be interesting to be back, and I think that will be fun. And I definitely know what I gotta bring for next time because this was a great conversation. So.
For sure. Jonathan, any words?
Yeah, congrats. I thought I had a strong lead, and I have to low key say, after those first two movies, I knew that I was going downhill. So
it was the preparedness for me.
It obviously did. So I was actually on my toes as it kind of progressed as well. I was like, oh man, where's this gonna go? So it was fun. It was a blast being on here. And yeah, I would like to see more personally. And it'll be cool if I could come back on. Just as Will said, I now know like what I have to do.
I'll give you a month of lead time for your episode.
A month instead of a week.
It's hard to watch about 10 films in a week.
I'll give you that. I should have been like, what's the best Mission Impossible? What's the best Harry Potter? And just lay it on. And then you got to watch like 50 movies in 1 week. But I'd like to thank both of you for being the first ones to come on. I know you're really my only choices for the first 2, so thank you for that.
Heck yeah.
But yeah, that's all we got for this episode. Thanks for tuning in or watching us or listening to us. There's plenty of mediums for you to look at this on. So if you go to my YouTube page, Film Talks, you can find the video of this. It might be a disaster, who knows? Or you could go to Film Talks, Spotify, Amazon, Apple. Am I missing anything? Google, whatever the crap you watch podcasts on. On anything. Be sure to check me out there on my Facebook and Instagram at Film Talks Official. I always post questions which lead into my episodes of the week, and I look forward to your comments there. And that's all. So long.